Coming up next on Feedback Friday, Damien and Dave give their feedback from your comments on last week's shows. Feedback Friday starts right now on the channels of PWR.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Reports Feedback Friday, here for Friday, September 16, 2016. It's 9/16/16, David Hero. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero here at Casablanca on Brady, our remote home.
9/16/16.
Well, that's today. It only happens once. It will only happen once, and it's happening right now today. And we're with our peeps.
How about that?
We've got the PWR Galaxy. Can we do that?
Sure.
I don't want to. I don't like it. Seems like a... We do have to come up with a name for our fans. Don't start now.
Why not?
Because this is Feedback Friday. By the end of the episode, you're probably going to have a name for some of these fans that I'll have to clean up, as I generally do every week. And I just don't want to... I can't deal with it. I'm stressed right now. I'm very stressed right now. Today, tickets went on sale for Shenanigans in Orlando.
The biggest party of WrestleMania weekend.
Hosted by Kevin Nash at Mango's on International Drive. You know, there literally is not a better place that we could have gotten.
So, Billy Gunn's wife, Paula, sends out a tweet wanting Billy Gunn to be there.
I'm sure he will be.
And
have you booked him yet?
And who from our account said that wasn't a good idea?
No one from our account said that wasn't a good idea. They said,
Okay, well, I'm making sure. I don't want to get that kind of heat.
You can read, right? Twitter has this thing called a feed where you can see what was... I don't know if you do that occasionally. What are you going to do in Twitter? You know, there won't be... they're loosening their 140 character limit.
To what?
I think pictures and stuff like that will no longer be included in it. You know, links and all that crap.
So it'd not just be words?
Well, you DM a lot, so it doesn't... how have you not had that incident yet?
Because I'm smart.
Yes, Shenanigans tickets. I'm stressed. Yesterday on primetime on our new night Thursdays, it was like pulling teeth to get anything out of you. I don't know what your distraction was. You keep thinking I'm in this fight, this match, this cage debacle at House of Hardcore in December in Waukesha.
December 3rd.
Which I will not be in. I will not be a part of. However...
Why not?
Let me say this. You know, I'm a main event level talent. Me and The Miz. I ain't afraid of nothing. Me and The Miz are main event level talents. You know, that's clear, right? Everybody knows that out there. So when I see, Tommy gave some names, you know, they're good names. But when I see the rest of the names on the card, if they meet my satisfaction, perhaps I will consider actually headlining the show for those talents. Perhaps.
Really?
Yeah, if they meet my satisfaction.
Okay. Are you easily satisfied?
It takes a lot to satisfy me. A lot of content. Content to satisfy me. So,
content.
I don't know when Tommy's going to be announcing more names and more matches, but I'll consider it.
Okay.
But it's still highly unlikely that there will be a talent list that will allow me to do that. Yes, it's Feedback Friday. When else do you think it would air?
It's more like waffle with you. You're going back and forth so much here.
I'm setting up before we get to your comments, which is what this show is all about, ladies and gentlemen. And let's get right down to it with your comments from our episodes of last week on the Tube of You. The first one comes to us from a user by the name of Taylor Tapau. Taylor...
Tupu.
Taylor... Is that really how you say that?
Tapau.
Tapau. Linda, can I borrow you for a minute? Please? Linda's here with us.
Because you think Linda could understand
She wrote this. She typed this. She picked them. Hi, Linda. How are you?
I'm tremendous.
Can you read this here? What name is that?
Taylor Tapu.
Thank you, Linda. Taylor Tapu. Appreciate it. Taylor had the following to say on our YouTube channel. He said, and I quote, "I just realized that every 2 years, The Miz and Dolph Ziggler have a feud against each other. In 2012, Team Dolph versus Team Foley. In 2014, Miz with Mizdow versus Dolph with R-Truth, or Ziggler rather, R-Truth. And now again for the Intercontinental Championship, but this time focused more on them than Mizdow." So an interesting fact that around about a 2-year cycle between The Miz and Ziggler being in a program with each other. This is probably their best one yet, though.
They are buddies, and they travel together. They did, what's that network show that... Yeah, put your urine test away, will you?
That is my Irish
filthy.
whiskey. As I told you, I'm stressed, and I needed something to take the edge off before sitting down with you again today.
I mean, Ziggler and Miz, I mean,
Linda just got a phone number.
They've done a ton together. They really have, but every 2 years seems a little excessive, doesn't it?
Really? In this world? In wrestling?
Do you do the same?
If you wouldn't have, it depends. If you wouldn't have Miz and Ziggler in a program together now, do you know, or do you have any thoughts as to who you would have those two working with?
Ambrose and Miz. I can see that.
That could be interesting.
You know, I'd say Ziggler and Corbin, but we already saw that.
Yeah.
You know,
Ziggler and Cruz. Ziggler can put Cruz on the map.
they're both athletic guys.
Yeah, be a bit of be overwhelming to watch.
Who would do all the high spots?
Both of them. So we talked about the final deletion or decay or whatever.
Yes, yes.
Did you enjoy the spot monkeys? As part of that.
It was funny.
It was hilarious, actually. They had literal spot monkeys at the farm that they were visiting, the zoo rather, that they were visiting. Thank you very much for that comment, Taylor. Let's get to our next comment, folks, and this comes to us from a user on YouTube by the name of MechRab, who says, and I quote, "I finally broke down and watched an episode of Lucha Underground. You guys need to be covering that at least as much as you do Ring of Honor, NXT, and TNA combined."
You know what I don't like is when somebody tells me what to do. No, I'm
So
not
you have
gonna
a
do it.
problem with authority?
Coolio. You are not gonna. You need seriously. You need to turn around. Coolio is here. You're gonna miss this opportunity right behind you.
We are not in a gangster spirit. That is Coolio, isn't it?
It was Coolio. I don't make that shit up.
That is legit Coolio. Linda, can you check on that? I think that we are in a. No, that's not Coolio.
That was Millie.
That's. It is not raining out. Look, Lucha Underground. Great point. I've watched it. I watched an episode during last year. It's not something I feel I need to commit my weekly broadcast or weekly viewing habit to. You know, it's different. I'll give them that, but it didn't. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing bad about it, but you know, we already give you 45 minutes or so a week on prime time, and whoever knows how long this show is going to be. So, not saying there isn't room for it, but relatively speaking, to the relative
First
wrestling
of all,
audience, more
nobody
people.
tells me what to do. Right?
Right.
Okay.
In your opinion.
Yeah. What's next?
Would you be willing to watch Lucha Underground on a weekly basis? Have you watched one? I think we talked about this a couple of months
I
back.
think I have. The girls are beautiful.
You know what, let's do this. Let's commit this to the audience, David Hero. No one's telling you what to do, but I'm making a request as an employee of the Pro Wrestling Report. We'll watch next week's episode of Lucha Underground, and we will talk about it on primetime. It's a 30-minute show, I think.
Do I have the alt-right channel?
I can ensure that you have access to the episode.
Or is it Univision?
It's El Rey.
Is
You're
it?
right. It's
Okay.
not Univision or Telemundo.
Oh, that's a Telemundo.
But yes, can you commit to that? Can you watch? Can you?
How long is it?
I believe it's a 30-minute show. I could be wrong.
30 minutes? Yes.
44 minutes, 42 minutes.
Well,
You can
that's-
fast forward the commercials because
Okay.
you're watching on DVR if it's an hour.
Okay. I'll get to borrow your DVR. I'm afraid what can be on there.
No, I have a TiVo.
Oh. How am I going to get your TiVo?
So we'll do that for you, MechRab. We're going to watch Lucha Underground.
Oh, I'm not
And
doing
we're
it
going to
for
talk
this
about
guy.
it next week on primetime. Let me write that down because you'll forget. Lucha Underground next week. All right? We'll do that. So our next comment, folks, here comes to us from a user by the name of David Stronach, who says, and I quote, "I like the TNA Grand Championship and the match concept for it. It's like mixing an MMA round system, but if the wrestler gets the pin, it doesn't matter. He moves on to the next round, and I love the idea. Great job by TNA Wrestling." I got to give credit too. You know, Billy Corgan revealed that last week on Impact Wrestling. We'll get to that in a minute. But the concept is different. They combined all these championships, or not combined, but changed King of the Mountain / whatever it was called last week to into that championship. I think it's a good concept, David Hero. It's all about points, not about wins and
but
losses.
You need to teach the audience how this scoring system really works.
Why do they
It's a
like
little-
these complicated things?
It's a little complicated.
You know, like the Bound for Glory series and all that stuff. And
Yes.
it's good. Here's the good thing about TNA right now. They are trying new things. They're trying to distinguish themselves as different from WWE. It may or may not be successful, but it's different, and that's what they need to be.
And they're doing that. I mean, EC3 and Bobby Lashley in the main event of their biggest pay-per-view is a big match.
Yeah, it is. And they've made it big. More
They're
importantly,
two
they've
biggest
made it
stars.
big.
I think that EC3 has had some character damage in the last year,
Yeah.
You know, and hopefully that they can get him going.
Well, once he was detached from Spud, I mean, take it notch down.
He's better heel than a babyface.
He is, absolutely, yes. So how do you think Billy Corgan's doing as the president, on-air president of TNA Wrestling?
It's hard to say. On air, he's doing great.
Really?
Yeah, because he is who he is right now on TV. He's not playing a role.
Why are we in this era, and we have been since the Monday Night Wars, of there needing to be some kind of authority figure? Remember Jack Tunney? We only saw him twice, 4 times a year. The show policed itself back in the day. Why can't it anymore? It seems like wrestling organizations have this obligation to have a commissioner or a general manager. And maybe I'm just behind the times on this, and that's just what wrestling is now. But it lasted for so long without those authority figures. Why do we need them? Why do people feel we need them?
Because it worked.
It did. But a lot worked before that, too.
You know, at least the guy stopped walking the ring with a cup of coffee. At least that stopped. You know?
Lumberg. Thank you for that comment, David Stronach, I believe. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And thank you to all of you who have submitted your comments so far. We're not done yet. We're going to take a time out here, ladies and gentlemen. And when we come back, we are going to have more of your comments on our broadcast last week here on PWR Feedback Friday.
The biggest party event of WrestleMania weekend is back. WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash presents Shenanigans Orlando. Join Nash and his friends for a huge VIP party Friday, March 31st. Party with the biggest stars of wrestling at the world-famous Mango's on International Drive to kick off WrestleMania weekend. Don't miss Shenanigans Orlando, hosted by Kevin Nash. Tickets are available now and going fast at PWRshow.com. That's PWRshow.com.
Dude. What a fantastic voyage this week has been, hasn't it?
What are you talking about?
Julio was just here.
It's not a...
That wasn't him?
You picked that song over Gangster's Paradise?
Bro.
That was Coolio, right?
With the way times are nowadays, I don't want...
He didn't mean that kind of gangsta. I mean, Maya was in it. Yeah. No, that was Ghetto Superstar. Was that Coolio?
No.
Who was Gangster's Paradise?
Coolio.
Well, who was Ghetto Superstar?
Coolio. He was...
ODB did Ghetto Superstar?
Yeah, one dirty bastard.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? I'm only remembering Maya's parts.
That was your theme song a few years ago, Blizzard Bro, when you came out to fight Kevin Thorne. You were Ghetto Superstar.
When I beat Kevin Thorne?
You didn't beat him.
In my mind, I did.
Okay, but seriously,
much like CM Punk. I showed up,
so
I
that
took the
photo
challenge.
I just took, that wasn't really him?
No, how much did he charge you for it?
No, he didn't.
Then that wasn't really him.
I said I was a big fan and can I get a picture? And well, I feel so silly.
You should. Let's get back to your comments, more of your comments, folks, on our broadcast last week. And first one comes from Bert Tyson. Bert had the following to say, reference Finn Balor, which we had a discussion on last week, or 2 weeks ago, rather. Not a fan of Finn Balor. Shame what happened to him, but the Demon King is a boogeyman knockoff, in my opinion. Demon King doesn't change his moves, nor does he turn up the pace or momentum. It's just Finn Balor painted up. At least change his entrance music or something. Bert, not a fan of the Demon King.
You know, Bert's kind of pissy today, isn't he?
Maybe caught him on a bad day.
How many of these guys do change up? With the exception of Joseph Park and Abyss?
Which was also great in the Delete or Decay when Chris Park showed up looking for his brother.
But it's just like, they all have the same movesets. Willow and TNA was the same thing as Jeff Hardy.
Mm-hmm. It's the it's the layer on top.
Yeah.
The broken Matt Hardy is the same.
Had the same movesets as Hulk Hogan.
Well, that was different. Because it was clearly Hulk Hogan, but it wasn't Hulk Hogan, but it was clearly Hulk Hogan. Was that a rib?
It worked.
It worked for who?
Everyone involved.
Hogan in his 2003 return at the end of that run before going to TNA played the role of Mr. America on the SmackDown brand, and it was laughable. It was almost like didn't Dusty Rhodes wear a mask, and it was the same kind of situation.
He was the Midnight Rider.
Yeah, but everybody knew it was Dusty.
Yes.
Thank you for that comment, Bert. Reference Finn Balor. As we all know, I am a tremendous fan of Finn Balor, has been since his time in NXT. He is endorsed. I think the demon element of Finn Balor is yet another special attraction that WWE can monetize and that can increase his popularity, and I believe it already has. Next comment comes to us from MegaRod472. He says, reference our last show, I appreciated how this show, the Pro Wrestling Report, talked about the pro wrestling Illustrated magazine and its glorious history. A lot of people may remember this. Every couple of months in the magazine, it had a section that spotlighted the strong points and weaknesses of wrestlers. I would love to see PWR, your show, bring this back. I think it would be awesome. Not a bad idea, actually, David
Well,
Hero.
I think you should do that then. It's another person telling me what to do.
What do you do, David Hero? What do you do here?
You know what?
What is it that you say you do here? This ought to be good, folks.
I do stuff.
Such as?
I talk about things.
You do talk about things.
I haven't had a pen. I can't jot anything for a while.
How does that feel? How does that make you feel, David?
Weird because I'm very.
It doesn't matter how you feel. It's been years since I've done that.
Yeah,
Felt damn good.
Hope it's years again before you do it again.
Perhaps we will evaluate having the interns create some people to look at. I don't think it's a bad idea, actually. We don't look at everybody, but looking at the strong points specifically. Maybe Charlotte and Becky Lynch could be the first two.
I'm not doing
the
that.
Strengths and weaknesses.
No.
Why not?
Because you know why?
Why?
I'm going to tell you why.
Why? Well, tell me why.
Because I will point out weaknesses, and everyone's going to say I hate that person.
Do the weaknesses first, and then do the strengths. That way, the strengths are the last. You're leaving them.
That's all they're going to listen to.
You sound like Jim Cornette at times, and that's more of a compliment to you than it should be.
Well, that's fantastic. And if I say the weaknesses last, that's the last things they hear. I'm going to avoid weaknesses altogether.
Well, what if you write them down and we present them in written form?
No, I
It's a side-by-side chart. Put Charlotte in the middle, strengths, weaknesses. Strengths on one side, weaknesses on the other.
Because you're going to put down that these were my notes, and I'll still get all the heat for it.
Well, do you not stand behind your word? I'm
No,
not broad. They
absolutely
expect
not.
me to do it. They know I will take an analytical approach from a broadcast journalistic
How many times have I
perspective.
said things that people have taken absolutely the wrong way?
How many times have you said things that people have taken absolutely the right way?
More so than not. Tommy Dreamer took everything I said the right way.
Oh.
He wasn't offended by the words I said.
That were coming out of your mouth?
Yes, not one of them.
We will consider. We will take this under
No,
consideration.
I'm not doing it.
Thank you so much for
He
that
can do
comment.
it.
Our last comment actually is a double whammy this week here on Feedback Friday. The first one comes from Chris Phoenix, who has a lot to say about Enzo and Cass. Enzo getting defeated this past Monday night on Raw. He says, and I quote, "I agree and disagree with David Hero."
Okay.
For example, talking about how Enzo and Cass do the same thing over and over again in the ring, with Enzo getting beat up and Cass getting the hot tag to save him. Correct me if I'm wrong, but don't some people consider the New Age Outlaws, aka Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, to be one of the better tag teams in the history of the WWE? You know, the tag team that Enzo and Cass already get compared to, with the same crowd-pleasing promo before matches. Because I remember it was almost the same way. Road Dogg would take a lot of the beatings, then Billy would come in for the hot tag. So with that in mind, if it worked for them, the Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, can't it work for Enzo and Cass?
No, because Road Dogg and Billy Gunn are a way better tag team than Enzo and Cass. They've been around longer, they're more seasoned veterans, and they could change it up. They didn't do the same match. Yeah, sure, it was Road Dogg taking the heat, hot tag to Billy, but Billy didn't have the same comeback in every match.
Sure. But he had to come back in every match.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Right, because it makes more sense for Road Dogg to get beat up than Billy.
Because he was the roadie at a time.
And Billy is one of the biggest guys in the company back then.
Absolutely. You're right, it is different because they were at a very different point in their careers when they teamed up versus this new, fresh tag team of Enzo
And hey,
and Cass.
you know what? Enzo, he's been caught in lights in the last 2 weeks.
Oh,
To the shining
Bray
stars.
Wyatt hasn't won on a
To
pay-per-view
the
since
shining
2015.
stars. Bro.
You know, Ryan Davis had a response to that comment by the Chris Phoenix, and that's what's great about our comments and the comments you can leave on YouTube is you guys can have conversations with yourselves as well. And he said, I actually find Enzo and Cass's intro extremely annoying. Enzo and Cass tried too hard to be cool, while Billy and Road Dogg were just naturally funny and an amazing tag team. I get it, it's a new era, and certain things may be banned, but his point is that they were better.
About Enzo, and he's extremely talented. Do not get me wrong, but I'm not a 25-year-old kid from the Jersey Shore. I don't get his shtick. Road Dogg, everyone could follow along. Big difference.
Yep. You know, I actually, if this is any indication, when they were backstage doing their little promo or whatever, their little thing last week on Raw, I said, well, good, at least they're backstage. I don't have to endure It's getting old. I mean, I'm sorry, I love it, but it's just getting old to
I
me.
said that 4 weeks ago.
The Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, the New Age Outlaws never got old. Their shtick never got old.
Road Dogg could sing.
He could. Rockabilly. Not Rockabilly.
I'm
What was the
saying
song?
that when
With
he-
My Baby Tonight.
When he spoke, it was like he was singing. It
Like a
was
little
smooth.
bit of Frank Sinatra. He was
Yes.
crooning, if
Yes.
you will.
He was, yes. And yes, he's one of my dearest friends, and, yes, but still, I may be a little biased, but Road Dogg's one of the top 5 talkers in the business.
Folks, with that, thank you for your comments here for Feedback Friday. We appreciate you joining us here on Friday. Remember, Primetime has moved now. It is Thursday nights. You can catch Primetime right now, on demand from last night on the channels of the Pro Wrestling Report, including YouTube and Fight TV. That's FITE, the Fight TV app that you can download on your mobile device and watch it to your Wi-Fi television in your home for free.
Free.
On demand, folks. So we'll see you again Sunday for Battle of the Brands. Find out who you voted the best between Raw and SmackDown this week. Until then, for that one, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you so much for joining us here on Feedback Friday.